Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Gargoyles Goliath in the video game format. The arcade, it's not arcade though, it's like pixelated. I guess it was a Sega game, because that's like the Sega logo. So I'm guessing that's what it was. I didn't even know the game existed. But this is a pixelated gray and black mostly version of Goliath, which could be a suitable stand-in for a stone version if you were so inclined to do something like that. This is going to be a pretty quick review because it's just essentially a repaint with some different accessories. I'm going to go through it though so you know what to expect, and then you'll be able to make your buying decision with a little bit more information. So let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. Lately, I've been getting a lot of people, especially NECA collectors, asking me to show the packaging, so I'll do that for Goliath here. It's pretty good. It definitely harkens back to the old video game packages, so that's pretty cool. That's the artwork on the front. On the side, you get a picture of the figure. On the back, you get some more pictures of the figure. It's nothing crazy here, no artwork or anything, really. And then you get this. I don't know what the heck that is. I have no idea what that is. That must be something from the original game. I have no idea what that is. Okay, and then it does open up, which is nice. No images from the game though, really, other than the background. So hopefully you like the way the figure looks. I happen to like the way the figure looks. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and just treat it kind of like a regular review, but also kind of not, just in case. If you want to see the original release of Goliath, that's going to be up in that corner. I'm going to go over everything. For this, I'm really only going to hit the hot spots for changes from the original release. But I'll give you a height measurement. This is exactly how he came out of the package, so his legs are pretty much fully extended, which is not how you want him to be standing, but you'll probably need to for scaling purposes. About 7 7/8 with his legs fully extended. That's going to make him about a little over 20 centimeters. Do I have Angela out? I do. Let me grab Angela. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Oh, these damn wings are so big. Okay. So, here's Angela with her legs mostly straight, which is how the females were usually drawn. Angela and Demona almost always had their legs straight. Goliath almost always had his knees very much bent. So you can see, if you bend his knees at all, he's going to be way too short. He's almost the same size as them when you bend his knees the way they're supposed to be. His knees were bent a lot in the cartoon, especially. Like at least that much, but probably more most of the time. So in order for scaling to be proper, his legs need to be pretty straight, which is unfortunate for sure. Talked about that before. Or you can just bend the females a little bit more, and you can kind of go somewhere in between probably and fudge it, but just wanted to adjust the scaling since I didn't have Goliath handy for Angela. Now you can see that. Okay, let me get her out of the way. And, okay, let's do a quick question of the day. I think I asked this once before, but are you guys who are collecting this Gargoyles line, are you down for a stone variant, stone repaint of all the Gargoyles, even though it wouldn't make the most sense to have an action figure of something that can't move? And if you are interested in that, is this close enough to satisfy that itch? I know we have the yellow belt and the red eyes, but otherwise this thing is pretty darn stone-like, so it might just do that for you. Okay, so let's talk about what you're getting in this package. We'll do the aesthetic first, which means I have to pull off the wings. We do have a little bit of paint on the back of the wings. This is obviously the cloaked wings. If you like the sculpt, good. If you don't like the sculpt, it's the same one as before. They're a little cumbersome, definitely restricting as far as posing goes. And they're, because of the way NECA did the styling on their Gargoyles figures, the cloaked wings are relatively bulky compared to how they were in the cartoon, because Goliath was a monster in the cartoon. So having his wings draped over him didn't look as much like a comforter, but it still looks really good. So if you like the way those look on the other Goliath, then you're gonna like them on here. So that's what they look like. We're gonna take those off though, and this is gonna be part of our test here for our review. Okay, the head still swaps off, no problem. The wings, obviously they come off pretty easily. We do still have the exact same back as before, which is a nice sculpt for muscles, but the way the wings peg in is not good. It definitely hurts articulation if you want to pose the wings. Now, me personally, I hate the way these wings are, and I don't want to pose them. So I don't mind as much for Goliath that the wings can't rotate. But as a reviewer, it's not ideal that these wings are essentially keyed into the muscles. You can see that cutout right there. Not good if you want to pose them. If you don't, then it doesn't really matter. All right. Okay, so that's pretty much where the wings are gonna sit. And so that's what they're gonna look like on the figure. I cannot zoom out anymore. These wings are massive, as they have always been. All right, let me get the head back on and we'll talk about the aesthetic a little bit more. All right, so I don't have reference in my head of this game, so I'm gonna have to just post the reference or share the reference in the, oh, I wanna mention that. Okay, so just as an aside, we do have the light blue in here, and before I get rid of these other wings, I wanted to show you we don't have it in there. Now, you could easily argue that's because they're in shadow, and maybe that's how it looked in the game, which is what I was gonna say is I'll try to find an image of the game just so you can do a comparison. I'm guessing this has a lot of liberties taken, but either way. So, the paint job on this guy, it's all pretty clean. There's a little bit of fuzziness here and there. Some of the spots are very square. If you look at his traps right there, you can see very square pixels. Pixel paint job, very square. But then other places, it's very, it's very not square. If you're not looking too close, you won't care, but you may notice that in some spots, it's definitely a pixelated paint job, and then in other spots, it is just a very stylized paint job. So you might not like that. It's technically a flaw, I would say, but for me personally, I don't care, because I don't care about the pixelated paint job. But it is technically a flaw. The yellow paint on here could be a little bit better, but it is nice and bright and it's clean. Just could be a little bit more opaque. The eyes are painted really well. On the first release of Goliath, he had the pupils, so it was a little bit challenging for them. This guy doesn't have the pupils, so it makes his face look a lot better, frankly. Now, while we're talking about the paint job, I want to bring up the alternate head. You'll notice some differences. The standard head has a lot of the light gray, and then the yelling head has much less of it, and it's a darker light gray. I personally think this one looks better, but they do both look really good. They are just slightly inconsistent. You can see how much lighter his light gray is for the jaw and around this eye and on the bridge of the nose. This guy's doesn't stand out quite as much. I personally don't mind. But again, you could count that as a flaw. Another thing worth noting, the original release of Goliath, his wings did not match his skin tone. Now that's technically true here also because the vast majority of the figure is this medium gray. We have the light gray, the medium, and then the dark. The wings match the dark. You could argue that away, no problem, and because of this paint job, it's not going to stand out really at all, but I need to point things out so that you're aware. We do only have the dark gray for the wings. Again, I don't care. You might consider it a problem. The wings do have shading on the back. I say shading, but it's the stylized paint job. It's very fuzzy though. You are not getting the pixelation at all. So again, if you care about pixelation, it's a problem. If you don't, you probably won't care. If you're like me, it's just a really cool looking Goliath, which was already a cool figure, and that's fine. If you were all about the Sega Genesis game, maybe it'll be a problem or maybe it won't. I can't say, but now you know that's what it looks like. Sculpt is all still the same. Paints are opaque and nice. I like that. I think there is definitely enough of it. We don't have any really in the hands, not at all, actually, any in the hands or in the lower feet or on the tail. I think that's still okay. Tail wouldn't have been good. Hands maybe, like the forearms even, we don't have any of the dark, but it's still, I think it's still a really good looking figure. So if you're at all inclined to get it strictly for the aesthetics, I would say go ahead and do it. Now, as far as accessories go, you already saw we have the open wings and the cloaked wings. We have the normal head and the angry head. And then all we get otherwise would be the open hands and the fist hands. I think that's because we get the two sets of wings, and also we don't need more accessories probably. I think the alternate body parts are sufficient. And that's what probably is what NECA was thinking. So I'm okay with that. You might be, you might not be, I don't know, but you can decide for yourself. Okay, and so I'm not going to go through the articulation. It's all the same. I didn't notice any loose spots. Everything seems like it's about the same everywhere I've handled it. Nothing stands out as being a problem, so that's fine. I'm guessing they haven't done enough of these where the molds are starting to degrade yet. But there we go. There we go. Let's see if I can speak English. It looks really good. Is it perfect? No. Are there more flaws than there should be? Probably. The inconsistency in the pixelation is a problem for me. I think they should have really tried to nail that or just done like a very stylized paint job. But really, I can't find any square pixels other than those 4 on the traps. And even then, it's really iffy. So I think they could have done a lot better. I think their factory might be struggling right now with paint jobs because Broadway and Angela both had really speckly paint jobs. Now this guy's pixels aren't good. So, you know, there are issues, but it is a damn good looking figure, I think. I really like this look for him, and I think if you're interested in this sort of thing, you'll probably be okay with the problems. But again, that's up to you to decide, and now you have the information to do it. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.